But now we have a new code, and it has to be, the value has to be defined. So 0 is rather not say, which is politically correct.
Prefer not to say.
So now we have a nice one. Here you see what this actually means. You go to the data view. Now it says here 2s and 1s, but if you want to look what it is, you say view, value labels on, and here you see the new one. And this is a new one, a good one to work with.
Okay.
Here you can make crossings and so forth.
Okay.
And this, unfortunately, you can't work with this. It is,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
and you have to everywhere where you see the little yellow A, you have to look at it and say and code it. So I see codes here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has codes. This you can code this. This is open and it's closed, so you can code it as well. It's a bit of work, but if you do the copy and the sorting,
Yeah,
then
it will be okay. Okay.
so first now, your question.
All my files are deleted. That happened to me.
Just as at a first glance, is this okay?
I see a lot of text.
You gotta code that. I love that word. God no.
It's all text. And here you can work with this, but here it's difficult because you can't make a averages or anything. So, and what's this? Open?
No, we gave
multiple
several
choice.
options.
So
It's
worth
a
it.
multiple choice.
It's multiple response.
No. One
It's like
response
4
was
choices and then
like-
pick
yeah.
one.
Pick one. Okay.
Like, what is the step, like, from this, what do we do, I think is our question now. Coding is next, or?
Do we have to? Maybe.
Pass this
we don't
through.
have to.
Well, let's see what happens. If you want to make a cross table with male, females, and how much do you spend on it? Oh, yeah.
You're so good.
Okay.
I was born in Minsk, okay? This is my right price.
Oh shit.
Now this is a cross table that could work. You see here how much money did you spend on the festival, male and female. So what is noticeable? As little as possible, I'm a cheapskate. What's the gender difference there?
Relay.
Sorry? Relay, yeah. Could you say that males are more cheapskate than females?
Yeah.
Or they are more honest.
It actually depends on how many, like, males and females answered in the end.
Well, 71 females and 50 females.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Then definitely they are cheaper.
Cheap fucks.
It appears to be, because this is 17%, we always look at percentages. This is 70% and this is 8.5%. However, it's 9 versus 6, so is it significant or could it be coincidence?
But then we have, like, way more than I intended. It's also this one.
Yeah, that's the one we are interested in most.
Way more than I intended. Well, that looks close together. So,
The thing is that what I realized when analyzing is because we only have 120 respondents, like most, yeah, like we cannot really confirm the validity because this is like, yeah, you know, it's so
Not
close,
enough.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. But we do what, so what I did is just like don't really look at the count and just only look at the percentages and try to put at the end, well, you know, we only had 120 due to the size of the research. We cannot confirm those aspects fully because, you know, that's true.
Yeah, but then you can say that of all results. So you can say in the beginning, since it's only 120, it's more indicative than reliable, and that's a good point you make. However, you want to say something. You want to make, and if you say, you look for noticeable differences. Well, if you make this table, you could look for noticeable differences, but you can also say, okay, well, the differences are not very big, so I look at the total only. And you see the division in this population, or this sample, is that most, way more than intended or keep a budget, it's divided. You have the cheaper side and you have, but the noticeable thing I would say is that 1/3 spends way more than intended. That's
But
noticeable
also
in itself.
1/3 keeps the budget.
Yeah, but that's what you probably expect. It depends on what you expect in this question.
That's true.
Yeah, and you did all the pre-research and the desk research, and you had expectations, you had assumptions. Does this confirm the assumption, or is it noticeable? So that's how you look at these numbers. You don't go in your analysis, oh, 12% said this, 36% said that, 21% said that. You take the reader by the hand and say, this is the table, and this is what I will report about, because I think this is the most noticeable one. And then you make a point, and then say, okay, this makes sense, and you.
Okay, so we don't have to like look over everything and like go into detail, just like pick what we need.
I would advise to look over everything in SPSS. So make crossings, make all the output you find interesting, go through the tables together, and see in each table, this is the result, this is noticeable, this is what I expected, this is what we don't expect. And then you see a story between all those tables. You see something happening. You have the basic assumptions, and you see, hey, it's confirmed, or there's something else going on. And that makes the reporting interesting. Otherwise, it's just percentages, and you leave it to us. And it's quite boring, actually. So there's a story behind it. So the story here is people spend too much. That's interesting. That offers commercial opportunity.
Yeah, that's why we asked that question.
Yeah. The interesting is you say how much money I expect, like an amount, but you make it into.
Yeah, because then you get the amount and then you have to make an average, and because you do not remember maybe how much money you actually spend. And it's also about the feeling. Did you
If
stick,
it's
are
about
you a
feeling,
type of person that sticks to a budget but was now persuaded to spend more?
Yeah.
That's what was interesting.
But if you want to do that correctly, you have to say what kind of spending person would you rate yourself for, blah, blah, blah.
We're learning.
The thing is, if you want to have it exactly, how much money, or you get a range, what can you do then, if you have the exact numbers? What kind of analysis could you make then? Revenue? Yeah, or more simple? If you have numbers, anyone else? We can calculate the mean. What's the mean spending of this data group for what it says? So there are a lot of ways to look at the data. So if you make cross tables, I hope by now you know how to do that. That's step one. And then the interpretation, that is step two.
But the only thing you have to do basically is make cross tables to at your interest, and then from that you just write in your report, oh, I figured out through our survey that this and this, and then you don't have to put any screenshot of this table in it, or just put it in the appendix or something.
No, the tables are of course sort of the illustration of your point. So the tables are important, and you use the tables in your report.
Yeah.
but your text and your explanation of it is of course more. That is the report. But you use these just like
Back
you
it
would use
up.
graphs or quotes
Okay.
to illustrate your point.
Okay.
However, we don't use screenshots. You make a table. This is not a APA table. So if you want to report on this, you have to copy the percentages and the columns, and you give the total n. It's called, so on what population is it about, and you give only percentages and make the column. So it's a bit. That's the most work, but you make a nice short table in Excel, for instance, and the advantage there is with Excel, if you make a table and you select it, there are plenty of example graphs. You make a graph with one push of the button.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So you can use graphs as well.
Yeah.
As long as you give the percentages only, and it has to be clear how many people responded to this question.
Okay.
So between brackets you say n is 124.
Yeah. Okay. And then your source as APA.
Yeah, and then the table and the graphs should also be APA, and then it counts as APA.
Yeah, but when I put the table in, then I just have to put beneath it source, group file, nothing that has to be.
No, that's not necessary. This is research results.
Okay.
We don't APA that.
Okay.
The only thing is there are APAs more than just sourcing. APA is also the way we write. You have to design tables and graphs in a report.
Okay.
So if I have a simple question where answers are yes and no,
Yeah.
and I just screenshot it, I can't really
Now, first of all, if you have a simple variable, a yes and no,
yeah.
is it important to bring a table about that?
Well, I mean, it's required sort of, so
No, it's not required. You don't make a table of everything. You make a table of noticeable things. If you have a division of yes or no, which is interesting, you can do it in one sentence. 80% of the respondents think that say yes to blah blah blah. It's enough. And if you want to make it visible, make a pie chart. But usually the simple variables, and as I said, we don't make screenshots out of SPSS.
Okay.
It's not a very big thing. A lot of people do it, but I want to teach you now correctly, because in the higher years it's.
Yeah, okay, because we didn't knew that.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
You need to
made
add
thousands
this
of screenshots, right?
in the appendix somehow.
However, it's all in
The whole result, the whole
Not all the output, no. If you want to, what I would do is in the appendix give the answers, the frequencies per question you ask. So you have your questionnaire, and in the appendix you say, okay, this was the division of this was the frequency of how the people responded on that question.
What's the frequency in this case? Like the percentage?
No, frequency is
So for each question,
yeah, that's your this is how the people responded to this question. And I think in your case, for year one, for the purpose of being complete, everyone can look in the back, hey, how was this question answered? So you see 124 people answered this. 41 people said this was the most given answer with this, and there's that much percent. And everyone answered this, so the same is the valid percent. This is a frequency table.
and
In
so
Dutch
we
it's
do
called
that
rechte tellingen. It's like the straight count.
So we do this for all the questions.
Yeah. It's really
In the
easy. You
appendix.
just one click and it rolls out.
Now.
It's like in the appendix. You want to know, okay, what was your questionnaire, and how did people respond to each question? So you make it's called the book of tables. So you do for each question, you say, okay, this is the frequency division. It's information, you don't have to figure it out yourself, you just push the button. Here you say, analyze descriptive statistics frequencies. You could put anything in there what you like. So select, drag it here, okay, and it all develops here. And this you ignore, but it's about this, frequency tables.
Thank you.
Yeah? This is the easy part, the rest is the harder. The harder are the cross tables and how to interpret that. But
Okay.
any more questions?
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
We ask what country people were from, and we want to compare what people said about certain things. We want to compare what people said who were born in the Netherlands to what people said who were born outside of the Netherlands. But we just ask what country people were from. So how can I say like this list of Italy, Albania, Spain, etc. How can I compel that to basically not the Netherlands?
You want to bring it down to 2 variables.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Good question.
And then I have another one, which
There is
is
a,
we use 2 multiple answers possible questions,
yeah,
and those, yeah.
I'll get to that. It has to do with set. Did you send me your
Yeah.
file?
Okay. So, yeah, there's what's your native country and what country do you currently live in. The native country is the one to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, and now you see that it sucks that it is string. Because if you would have a code, then it will be easier. I'll show you. Oh wait, maybe we can code it now. It's more easy. Insert variable.
The other one.
Yeah, but which one do we use? This one? Where
Yeah, that
you
one.
born?
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's more diversity in that.
Well, if you code, let's say, native, huh?
Yeah.
Native recode. Native country. In the values, you say it's either you say 0 is Netherlands, that 1 is outside Netherlands. Okay. Go back to data view. Where is it? Yeah. We sort this one.
Yeah.
And the Netherlands was 0, right?
Yeah. Oh,
You give it a number. And you make it now binary. So was everybody? Oh, sorry, wrong one. I was looking at what country do you currently live in. It's this one. Sort this one. You have to look so well. If you do this kind of things, what column am I looking at? Here you see it now, it's on alphabetical order.
Everything that doesn't say Netherlands is 1 and everything that says Netherlands is 0.
We give it a number. One is outside. Oh, yes. Yeah, one is outside Netherlands. Okay. And 0 is Netherlands. Copy. Paste. And this was 1. Copy. Paste. And now we have this new variable, and this you can use for your crossings.
Yeah.
And if you want to know how many are in there, you do the frequencies of this new one. You see, after coding, I see Netherlands is 83 and outside Netherlands 37.
Yes.
So you can now split them. But be aware that the Dutch natives are a large part of your sample.
I know, which is a problem.
Is this a problem? Okay. If you were set out to make it more even, then you should have sampled in different parts. But now that you know it, it's hard now to change it because you have to hand in. You have to discuss it. Say, okay, it's you discuss it under the quality of your research. You say it's not representative, so therefore the answers are very much, and so forth. But this is basically how you do it. You make a new column, and you make new codes, and in the data you can assign the numbers to it. And it's the same what you do with the multiple response problem. You also told me that? About multiple response? The second, you have 2 questions for me.
Yeah, yeah. How you get that in one graph instead of all different.
Where is your multiple response variable?
Yeah, so it just says, we had a question about what's your preferred way of traveling to a festival, and then it just says car, taxi, train, plane, festival, bus, bike, other. But in data view, to the right, yeah, see, and then it's just on, off, on.
Where?
On the right here, all those different columns.
Ah, yeah. You see, this is multiple response, so people have more options. And so like this person uses car, train, plane. Can I say that?
Yeah.
On means chosen, and off is not chosen. Well, you have to, SPSS can't really make sense of this, so you have to assign numbers to it. So on is 1 and off is 0. And you say count all the ones. Let's see if we can do it. If you have an existing column and you want to recode it, you do transform, recode into different variables. Not the same, otherwise you override it. Into different variables. So you get that car variable, and I don't quite know, but you give it a new name, car recode. The value on is an old value, and this is now called 1.
Can you go one step back if you press? Yeah, and then you press.
All the new values. value on is 1, value off is 0. Those are the only two options, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope this works. And now it has made a new variable. It always appears way in the end. It's called car res, but now it's numeric. And let's see how it looks like. Yeah, it worked. So now this one is a new one. Instead of on off, it says 1 0. If you do that for all these, then you have a new set of columns with ones and zeros.
Yeah.
How do we do this in one table? You use a different function. You say analyze multiple response. It's over here. We usually do descriptive statistics, and now here you have multiple response. First it says, okay, there's multiple response. What variables must I look at? That's define variable sets, because these all are related, so it's a set. Multiple response define variable sets. And then you select here all the different columns, like car rack, plane rack, all the new ones you made, and that's your set. You add it to here, and you say the counted value, the value SPSS must look at is 1, because there's only one of the chosen ones you want.
Yeah.
So you fill in here 1. You give the set a name, and then you close. I can't do it now because it's not ready yet. And then, after you've done that, you go back again to multiple response, and then this is black. You can choose it. You can make cross steps and frequencies.
Okay.
But first, it's important that you define it in ones and zeros.
Yeah.
So you recode into different variables and make ones and zeros.
But you have to do that for each column separately. You can just
Yeah.
say every off and every on is a 1 or a 0 in the file.
You can make a very complex syntax in it.
I'm not
But
a programmer, so.
Yeah. The best thing you do is by hand, and it went very quickly, as you saw.
Yeah.
You say recode here once again. Transform, recode into different variables, and this is also programming. Make a new variable. Old values is on. New value on means 1. Off means 2 or 0.
Yeah.
That's all you do. And it's also sort of a coding. And you could do it in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Right. Any more data sets, questions?
Open questions. We have like the last question in our survey was, what would you like to change, and then people could write whatever they want. How do the tables and frequencies work with that one? Or you don't have to you just write about it.
No, you could do something with it, and I would recommend to make a column next to it and assign numbers and code it. So if you have an answer and you have another answer that looks a lot alike, or you see it happening, then you can give it code 1. And you do that in SPSS, and you say SPSS what the codes mean, and then you have recoded the open answers into numbers, and then make a frequency. And you see what's mentioned most. But it's that you have to do by hand, because you as a researcher have to interpret where this answer falls under.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's the best thing. Open answers always nice. Okay, I hope you you got it. You got an idea on what to do. It's the more complex ways, but it really helps. So multiple response, recoding, cross tables. Hopefully that's enough for this assignment. Next year we go more advanced in statistics. Okay.
Thank you very much.
So it was